Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So we have 4 days until the launch of Battlefield 6 and news are still dropping, okay? And some controversial ones actually, because we're talking about Siege of Cairo having some rooftop routes, which is, well, something that people were not really happy about in the open beta. So apparently they are actually trying to bring some rooftops, some of them, not all of them, into the legal play zone of Siege of Cairo. So many interesting stuff there. We have some mysterious covert operations, which I have no idea what they are, but apparently they are a part of Season 1 coming to Battlefield 6. We're going to talk about that, take a look at what possibilities do we have on paper, and what should we actually expect from something that's called Covert Operations. A more optimized performance mode is also coming to consoles as well. We're going to take a look at the numbers when it comes to pre-orders on Steam, and we're also going to talk about some statistics about Call of Duty players who actually played the Battlefield 6 open beta. We're going to take a quick look at the achievements and trophies that are available for Battlefield 6, and finally we're going to take a look at some statistics when it comes to the live action trailer. So without further ado guys, let's go ahead and jump straight into the action. We have alleyway ambushes, tank feints, and rooftop routes. Siege of Cairo is a cat and mouse grind through central Cairo. Blink and you're flanked. Now, they're talking about rooftop routes here, okay? There's actually no big deal here. There's just a picture with the map layout of Cairo for Conquest 64, something we already know about because we've played the map in the open beta, and quite honestly, it was my favorite map. It had flaws, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe not perfect, but it was a very good map in my opinion. However, it had some exploits. People could just go onto the rooftops, places that were not intended to be playable actually. And it kind of pissed a lot of people off because, well, people could, gain a height advantage over you that was not intended. And that was completely just ruining everything for people who actually tried to have some healthy playtime, right? However, the Battlefield account is now referring to rooftop routes, which is actually making a lot of people nervous. However, Battlefield Bulletin account here commented something very interesting, saying, you should clarify that quote-unquote rooftop routes are actually the designed/legally accessible rooftop routes next to Flag C. Now, based on this comment from Battlefield Bulletin, because I'm pretty sure they probably know something that we don't, okay? I believe I know what they're talking about. As you might remember, in Flag C, there was a bus, right? There was a bus wreckage. Just a few meters away from that bus wreckage, there was a rooftop that you could access through some stairs. No big deal, right? I believe they're referring to that, right? We're not talking about unintended, exploited rooftops. If that's going to be the case, we're not going to have a problem here, okay? So chill out, people. Things will be okay when it comes to Cairo in the main game. However, a new promotional email from EA indicates that Battlefield 6's first season will feature covert operations, and performance mode is able to achieve up to 120 FPS on consoles. Battlefield Studios has tuned PlayStation's DualSense controller, Xbox's wireless controller, and more. So this is the picture right here. Performance mode will give you up to 120 FPS on PS5 Pro, probably. In Season 1, on launch, things will be a bit different, probably about plus 85 FPS, something like that. I'm not a console player really, so I'm not really into what's going on here, but you can see the picture. However, there's something very interesting when it comes to covert operations here that they're talking about. Now, we don't know what they mean by that. No explanation, literally nothing. Now, we have a bunch of guesses. First of all, they might be giving us some seasonal operations in the single player campaign. Like, in my opinion, that's a possibility. However, if they try to compensate for the lack of a polished single player campaign by giving us more missions throughout seasons, in my opinion, that's going to be interesting. These covert operations could also be a part of the Battle Royale. Not really sure how they're going to do that, but if they put something like DMZ from Call of Duty, some extraction shooter right there later in the game. Maybe I'm really digressing just a bit, but that's something that comes to mind. And finally, someone actually commented something very interesting, and they said these covert operations might be referring to some of the maps getting a night version, which is just amazing. Just imagine playing in Cairo at night. Imagine how amazing it's going to be. You're going to have some sort of right equipment to be able to do something like that. You need thermals, like thermal scopes. We have them in Battlefield 6 based on the leaks and everything, but I'm not really sure about night vision goggles. I know we're going to have flashlights. So probably the fundamentals are actually existing at the moment. And what they need to do is just implementing the idea. So if they go down that route, in my opinion, it's going to be just amazing. And I'm pretty sure night maps always encourage the community. Always. Now, a new report from the game business claims that Battlefield 6 has an estimated 1.7 million copies pre-ordered on Steam alone, expected to sell 5 million within its first week. And that's also just on Steam, which is, crazy numbers in my opinion. Like it or not, the hype around Battlefield 6 was well made in my opinion. They made a perfect hype around the game, and the open beta was perfect. Like, the open beta of Battlefield 6 was something superior than the entire Battlefield 2042 flop, even after 4 years of polishing and development. Based on that open beta, all the trailers and everything that we've seen about Battlefield 6 so far, the hype train is just massive, and it's getting there. And it's not just about Battlefield fans pre-ordering a Battlefield game, because that's something usual, right? Maybe with lower numbers, but it's usual. However, we're talking about Call of Duty players here. 29% of Call of Duty players who played the Battlefield 6 open beta didn't go back to Call of Duty the following month. The majority of them, Steam users, followed by PlayStation players. Now, honestly, 30% of the entire Call of Duty players who played Battlefield 6 is a huge number. However, I kind of understand them, because honestly, going back to Battlefield 2042 after 2 weeks of Battlefield 6 was just something really hard for me. It was like a nightmare. You might think I'm joking, but it actually took me an entire week to just get back on track in 2042. It was crazy. It's hard to explain, but it's some sort of Battlefield 6 effect. You can't really explain it, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about, and Call of Duty players apparently do know what I'm talking about perfectly. But again, it's really an interesting number, 30% of Call of Duty players. However, taking a look at the entire list of Battlefield 6 achievements and trophy lists, for PC and Xbox, we're going to have 42 achievements and trophies. The PlayStation 5 players are going to also have a 43rd unlock, which is the Platinum Trophy awarded for 100% completion. So in general, 42 achievements. However, if you scroll down just a bit, this achievement is called Wrench Monkey. Take a look at this. Repair vehicles for 2042 damage in multiplayer. Oh my god. This is just crazy, man. These people are acknowledging 2042 damaged their multiplayer. Like, simply. You have to repair vehicles for 2042 damage in multiplayer. Like, why is that, bro? These people are mocking their game. Like, first of all, that's the first thing they're doing. Mocking their previous game. And at the same time, they're acknowledging 2042. Like, this is very important, because you have to understand that 2042 was a flop. Like, we seriously need something to repair the damage that was done by 2042. And I hope Battlefield 6 is that game. But this achievement really made me laugh, and I thought sharing it with you guys would be interesting. And finally, the Battlefield 6 live action trailer has reached 200,000 likes, over 2.6 million views in less than a week on YouTube, thanks to the partnership between EA and creative agency Mother Los Angeles for the launch campaign of the game. Joey Johnson, creative director at Mother LA, said, quote, "If you look at the state of first-person shooters and then what Battlefield 6 is, this idea felt like a no-brainer. Players want to feel like they're actually in that world. So it became as simple as make fans think we're hopping on the same bandwagon, and then blow up that notion to make room for a more grounded and true only in Battlefield film." Director Simon McCoy of Imperial Woodpecker was particularly drawn to this script because it has two elements that he loves: humor and scale. Quote, "My process is to balance those two elements all the time. This was a unique idea because we lead with a misdirect and the humor is up front. Then from that point on, it needs to back up the claim that only this sort of battle authenticity happens in Battlefield. It was one of the most enjoyable production I have ever been a part of because everyone wanted the same thing from the start. Scale, authentic warfare, and all with a sense of fun and awe mixed with it. I wanted the explosions to not just be big, but also feel utterly real, dirty and chaotic. I love the intensity of the game, so it was important that we matched that same energy. In my opinion, that trailer was perfect. Like, honestly, the start was great. Like, blowing up those celebrities up front and, keeping things grounded the entire time. There was humor, things were grounded, and most importantly, in my opinion, you could see the elements of an arcade shooter in that trailer. Like, it was nothing near some sort of military live action trailer. Nothing like that, because you see a squad of 4, maybe 5, rushing a tank with nothing in their hand. So that only happens in Battlefield. You have to be honest, you have to give them credit to be able to acknowledge something like that. But it wasn't Milsim, and it wasn't just a clown show. It was Battlefield, and in my opinion, it was good. So that's all about today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed and hope this video was helpful, somewhat informative. Do make sure to go down in the comment section, let me know what you think about the video, especially if you are a COD player. Tell me about your experience. Tell me what actually stopped you from going back to COD, if that was the case for you. So I'm going to know what your thought process was on that. Thank you all guys for watching, and until next time, guys, stay cool.